Welcome to the Onstage Podcast, where we deep dive into the power of music and entertainment. Well, everyone, today we have the pleasure of speaking with the incredibly talented singer-songwriter Carrie Welling. Known for her bold, sultry voice and heartfelt lyrics, Carrie has carved out a unique space in the Americana and folk music scenes. Growing up as a military brat, and I'm going to ask about that, she navigated the challenges of constant relocation, which deeply influenced her music and storytelling. Carrie's journey has taken her from her early days in Maryland and Germany to the vibrant music scene of Nashville, Tennessee. Her first full length debut album, released in 2020, contains songs like High Heels and Heavy Things that showcases her ability to blend raw emotion with empowering messages, earning her a dedicated fan base both online and at live performances. Her next one is Happy First, which is a song that emphasizes the importance of personal happiness. And my favorite, Good to Me, a heartfelt song about self acceptance and love. Carrie's music has influence ranging from, ready for this? Sheryl Crow, we all love Sheryl Crow, to Stevie Nicks. Wow, that's quite a transition. And Carrie is also passionate about connecting with her fans through her Patreon community. I'm going to ask about that because I was reading about that.
Yeah.
And where she behind the scenes content and collaborates with her supporters, whether she's performing on stage or teaching yoga. Carrie's dedication to her craft and her fans shine through. Please join us in welcoming Carrie Welling.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thanks for
Pleased to
having me.
meet you.
Yes,
You're
thanks.
very welcome. It's really nice to meet you and love your vocals and your talent, songwriting,
Thank you.
and can you please tell us, can you go back and explain to the audience what were the defining factors that inspired you to pursue a career in music?
Ooh, well, I would say a lot of things, but my dad kind of gave me, I call it the music bug. He gave me the music bug. He's always played guitar, he's always sang. So at a very young age, I would be singing with him, writing songs with him. And soon after recording, like, on my summers from school, recording albums with him. So he kind of gave me that jump. And I did choir, I did theater when I was in school, so that also just sort of helps me understand that I really like doing that. So I ended up going to school in New York City for music, and since then I've been doing it full time, hustling. So
Yeah, that's right. How have these different environments influenced your songwriting and musical style?
ooh, a ton. That's a good question. Definitely living in New York, there's so many different genres in New York. And then also in Nashville. So it is kind of interesting. When I lived in New York, I didn't really co-write a lot, I would say. But then when I moved to Nashville, I co-wrote a lot. So, and definitely just the different environments, like living in a city, those experiences as opposed to living in Nashville, which is a little smaller, that actually is now becoming a city. Um, but definitely environment 100% changed, my style. I think in New York, I was a little bit more like, I would say more rock and roll, you know? And then in Nashville, I was like, oh, I like the singer songwriter kind of raw, vulnerable stuff, that is written here. So, but then I feel like I combined a lot of those, especially with this newer record. So, but it's also like, I think I'm really grateful for being able to live in those different spaces to get a different perspective for my songwriting.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about you being a military brat. What's that all about?
Yeah, my dad was in the Navy, which took us to Germany. And then he got out of the Navy, but then my stepdad was also a contractor for the Army. So I ended up living with my mom. We came back to the States. So we moved around everywhere: Maryland, Germany, West Virginia, Colorado. And now my mom and my stepdad are in Colorado. My dad's in Florida. But yeah, It was interesting. I would definitely tell my friends, hey, so I know we're friends now, but I might be leaving in 3 years, so we're gonna have to keep in touch. I would like let them
Mm.
know that before I even left. I was just so used to it. So
Yeah, wow. I can imagine my father being in the military. It'd be awful if I had to come home from school and go, "Yes, sir. I had a
yeah,
good day at work, sir." You
it
know?
wasn't really like that. I
No.
think it was more of like the moving around that was more that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, Carrie, it is mentioned that your music is a blend of Americana, pop, and rock. How do you balance these genres to create a unique sound that resonates with your audience?
I mean, genres are it's kind of hard to when people ask me that question about genres, I'm like, I don't know, like I just sing what I love, like you kind of coming back to the what inspires me, like it does, where I'm at, you know, as far as environment.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll be like, oh, I feel like more of a pop song. I feel like more of a rock song, so I feel like it's just kind of like what comes out is my genre, and that's what and again, environment, stories, my own personal experiences inspire those genres. Like if I listen to a Sheryl Crow tune, I'm like, I want to write an Americana song. If I listen to an Ed Sheeran song, I'm like, I want to write an Ed Sheeran song. you know, so
Yeah, that's true. Well, we know that Eric Holgis produced your last album, High Heels and Heavy Things. Can you let us know what it was like working with him?
he's awesome. One of my really good dear friends. It was so sweet that he offered to produce my record, and he just did such a brilliant job. He was patient and just kind of took my songs to a different level. I also I actually wrote "Good to Me" with him, which is one of my favorites as well on the record. But it was a really beautiful experience. He was a producer, and then I also worked with the Klein brothers, Gabriel.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were really awesome too. Great, great engineers, and they are multi instrumentalists too. So they played everything, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's an amazing album. That album touches on personal and emotional themes. It's got a whole bunch of eclectic. I'd be interested. Can you share a specific story or experience that inspired one of the tracks? Like, okay, for instance, the song "High Heels."
Uh huh.
You have lyrics. You have lyrics like this: "Cause I'm walking on high heels, holding heavy things. This wouldn't be so hard with a pair of wings. Then I'd fly us, leave it all behind us. High heels and heavy things." Like, can you share with us what's that all about?
Yeah, so that song was fun. I was touring with an artist named Casey Williams, and we were literally walking up a hill with like high heels on and carrying heavy things. And one of us, I can't remember who it was, but one of us shouted out, "All these high heels and heavy things." And so I was like, "That's a cool title." So I went into it, and as all musicians do, we're like, "Okay, what's the story?" Um, and at the time, I think I was getting into a new relationship and I had all this baggage. And so I was like,
Mm,
I like the idea of like, I kind of seem okay on the outside, but inside there's a lot of baggage. And if you want to come with me, I don't, I'm a little bit afraid because I don't want you to have all my heavy baggage. So
yeah.
it's like, are you brave enough to take that on kind of thing? You know what I mean? Um, so that was kind of the idea around it. And if I didn't have that baggage, it would be a little bit easier to go into this relationship sort of thing. So that's what that song
Yeah.
is about.
Yeah. Are all your songs taken from life experiences? For instance, "Hurry Up and Heal," "I Don't
Mhm.
Want to Be Friends with You," "In My Head," and "Good to Me." So, is there a story there to go together in one little
Yeah,
story, or is it all?
they kind of definitely the whole record is a story. They kind of morph into each other for sure. And that record is definitely more about like self-love, going through experiences and not being so hard on yourself and knowing that you can heal, and that you can come out of it, and just almost just an ode to like self-love. And not every song is like necessarily happy, but it's also like human that we go through all these hard times, but at the same time, that self love, self care is really important. So
So, what's the experience behind I don't want to be friends with you? Is there a friend or somebody that you no longer want to be friends with or
well, that's it's kind of like a little bit of a so I don't want to be friends with you actually means I don't want to be friends, but I want to be lovers. So that's
Oh,
yeah. So that was written from just the perspective of like being in love with like a best friend, and not being and having it like being afraid to tell them because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. So
no, that's amazing. I know that your album or your music often explores themes of love, loss, and resilience. How do you approach the songwriting process about such universal yet deeply personal topics?
yeah, I mean, when you're sometimes I write songs by myself, but sometimes it's a co-write, and usually in a co-write turns into a therapy session. Like my song "Happy First" was definitely a therapy session. That's for sure. Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
it is what it is. You like co-writing is weird. You go into a room and then you're like, okay, here's my heart on my sleeve, and I don't really know you, but you're gonna know everything about me when we come out of this room. That's for sure.
hurry up and heal, sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, as an independent artist, what have been some of the biggest challenges you faced and have you overcome them?
It's always up and down. This is such a beautiful, beautiful job. I always say there's so many highs, but there's also really low lows. You're getting like, you got to be ready for it all. Like, um, I would say probably the biggest challenges is like doing it independently, financially. Like, you like what you do. When you make a record, it costs a lot of money. And I was really grateful for this new record that's coming out at the end of September called Cracking the Chaos. I did a Kickstarter,
Mhm.
and that really helped me do what I was able to do. Um, but I would say, yeah, financially, it can be a little bit tough when you're trying to do it on your own. You don't have that label to kind of front that money. Um, and balancing life. I love my friends. I love to be home. I just got a house. So, like, I think
Nice.
another one that's hard is like being on the road. I love the road so much, but I'm kind of going, I need the balance of road life and life. So that's always a little bit of a challenge, I think, for independent artists. They don't necessarily always have the bus driver. You sometimes have to drive your own. Well, not for me. It's not a bus, it's a car, but so but you also as an independent artist you have a lot of again, I do the Patreon, I did the Kickstarter, so you actually have a really awesome community of people that really act as your label you know so I've been really grateful for that. That's helped me through a ton.
So, can you tell us about that new album, Cracking the Chaos? What kind of
Yeah.
themes and messages are you focusing on there?
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. Again, it comes out September 27th. The big bash is in Nashville, Tennessee on the 28th.
Nice.
But this song, or I'm sorry, this record has 10 songs on it. I just put out 3 singles, Goodbye You. I also put out Water and Storm Chaser. And, I think the idea of Cracking the Chaos is, the world is chaotic. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of
Yeah.
like things in your head. We're human, a lot of little like monsters talking to you, like you're not good enough, you didn't do this right, whatever, you didn't,
Yeah.
if your past traumas are going to follow you. So it's the whole idea of Crack of the Chaos is finding the small joys that help you through all that chaos. Because I don't know if the chaos is ever going to end, like not in a bad way, but like I think that you always have to really find what you're grateful for, and you have to find those little slither of peace, even if it's like, as cheesy as it sounds, a cup of coffee with a friend and just chatting with them about something good you know um,
Exactly.
so that's the idea of the record. So there's all the songs have a little bit of that theme in it.
Yeah. What's I wish I was water? Like, what's the message that you want people when they're listening to I wish I was water too, or what?
Yeah. So the idea for that was like, when you look at water, um, it's huge and you feel so small. Like if you go to the ocean, you're just like, holy
Hmm.
moly, makes you feel so small. You also don't want to turn your back on it because it's like very powerful. Uh,
Hmm.
it takes up most of this world. And, but at the same time, people go to water to get peace and serenity and find calmness. So I was like, that's such a cool element that has all the things. It has power and grace. And so me and my co-writer Craig Wilson and Nancy, she like we were sitting in the room. We were like, let's write a song about wanting to live our lives more like water. You know,
Hmm.
get through all these obstacles, and it always finds a little crack in the wall if it needs to get out. So that's kind of what that whole song is about, and it's one of my favorite ones on the record.
When you play when you have a playlist, do you have an opener and a closer? What would be your opener be?
Like a playlist on Spotify or something, right? Is that what you're talking about? Or
No, I
like,
meant like
oh,
when you're
my,
playing.
okay.
Yeah, when you're playing live, like what would be your? Do you have like a playlist, or do you just randomly? Okay, I'm gonna start playing.
I do have the openers. Yeah, like my last record, Settle Me Down. I kind of open with that because I think it's a good opener. I also open up with Getaway Driver. That's an old one. A lot of people, it kind of gets people like ready. And then for Cracking the Chaos, I really think that um, a new song called I'm Not Afraid is a great opener too. So I kind of feel out the room a little bit, but those are my main openers because you kind of want to give them the vibe. I think that's an important thing. So
Do you want people to feel the same way you feel emotionally to a song? Like, do you when people listen to um, what do you want? Look, oh, sorry,
it's
when
okay.
people want to play that new song of yours or the High Heels one, or
Hmm.
you know, do you want people to feel the same way you did when you wrote that song and had the song process and put it together? How do you feel when you
Yeah, you mean do I want people to kind of feel the same? Like,
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, for instance, there's a song by Imagine Dragons called Wrecked, and Dan Reynolds wrote it about his sister-in-law who died of cancer, his brother's wife. So he wrote a song called Wrecked, and it's about her. But I'm a singer too, and I try to connect with that song by singing it. I'm like, you know what? I don't connect to that song because
yeah.
I didn't lose my sister-in-law. So for you, when you play these songs, what do you want your audience to feel? What do you want them to take away?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their own perspective. It's interesting how some songs are like, it doesn't, you don't have to actually go through the experience to feel it. Sometimes it can be, you know, for example, high heels and heavy things. If nobody's experienced having baggage before, they might take it in a different light. I think that's what music is. That's what the cool thing about music is. It's your own interpretation. It makes you feel whatever feelings come up. That's your feeling. I think I write for myself about, like I write like, okay, this is how I feel. And the one thing that I've learned is that when I put it out there, you could save somebody's life because they were like, "Oh, I thought I was alone." And it doesn't even
Mhm.
necessarily have to be the exact same like situation, but for some reason it makes them feel like not alone and it makes them feel connected. So it's really about how anybody perceives the song, you know that's how they perceive it, and if they like it they love it, and if they don't like it then maybe they just don't have a connection to it, and that's fine.
As long as you do and you enjoy doing it.
Yeah, yeah, it starts with the
You
artist, and then it
Yeah.
and then it then that energy goes out and it connects to other people. So
Yeah, I don't know if you are old. Well, probably not, but old enough. I don't know if you remember Janice Ian from the '70s. She wrote a song called "At 17."
oh, I don't think I know that one.
Yeah, so that's a good cover song. But she actually wrote that song. It's about when she was 17 and about going to parties and calling herself an ugly duckling because and it kind of for those who are 17 years old at that time, even if you listen to it now, those people will feel that unattractive and unattached and feel that nobody loves them if they listen to the song. It's so like 17. Uh, and get the end of the song, it makes you want to go on in your life. So with your song, uh, The Edge, for instance, like I don't know what the story is behind there, but I wish I was water. You want everyone to go back and say, "Yeah, I want to be water too."
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
because because water flows downhill, but water doesn't flow uphill, so they're gonna have a problem there.
yeah, that's true, but it will find its way uphill somehow. You know, it always finds its way. So,
Good thought. Yeah, I see what you mean. Your music is like therapy. And does it help you when you sing a song? You like, I feel better now, or
yeah, it
yeah,
really does. Yeah, sometimes I'll just be at night and grab my guitar and start writing, and it just takes me into a different world, which is nice whenever you want to get out
that's
of the chaos, you know. It's a little crack in the chaos. See what I did there?
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Man, that's awesome, Carrie. I love the way you use the terms and words. So, do you think your background in musical theater influenced your approach to live performances and connecting with your audience?
definitely. Yeah, I went to a conservatory in New York, and they definitely cracked the whip on us, you know. New York, just living in New York in general really helped with my hustle in music. And people definitely saw that when I moved to Nashville. They were like, "How do you just hustle? How are you not exhausted?" Which I am pretty
Hmm.
exhausted, but I feel like that city, like you can get just like swallowed up if you don't keep going. So it really helped me to hustle. And so I still do it. It's kind of in my I learned how to do it for the 10 years I was in New York. And so and that school definitely kind of like gave me that boost. So
And performing and playing your own music and letting it connect with people, does that affect your mental health? Does your mental health get better with the therapy, and or are there other ways that you like non-music?
yeah, I mean, I teach yoga, which helps me as well. I'm a big believer that like if you're a musician, you gotta do other things. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously it's hard because we love doing music. It's amazing, but it's good to go for a walk, go to yoga, go do a
Hmm.
little like maybe go, I don't know if you like painting. Having those little side things actually create more inspiration. You know, it's good to there's too much you can do too much of anything, so it's good to have that mental break a little bit sometimes. Um, but yeah, I like to do a lot of yoga. It's been a big part of my um yeah, just some life changes. That's a big part of my therapy. That and songwriting for sure.
I think I know what your answer is going to be to this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I always ask artists, and it's kind of interesting what answers they give me. So I'd be very interested in knowing what your answer is going to be. Has there ever been a time in your life where you just wanted to give it up? It was just too much for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think this is a really intense job. It's not easy. So of course there's moments where I'm like, I don't know, you know, I don't know if I can do this anymore because it does get really hard. Like I said, there's a lot of highs and there's a lot of lows. So on those low days, it's like, woof.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, though, when you're supposed to be an artist, there's like a little fire in you that if you try to stop, it's always going to be there and you have to like feed it. So the fire doesn't really go out. I know for me, I don't really like to stop. So I think a lot of it is this industry is a game of endurance. You just have to keep trucking. You have to know that like the no's, it's okay. People are going to say no to you and you got to keep going. So yes, of course there's times where I'm like, this is too much. And it feels heavy. But at the end of the day, you know, I just, I just think how wonderful the job is. And how I think if I did quit,
Hmm.
I would really be missing a part of myself.
Probably.
Mhm.
So how do you balance then how would you balance your vulnerability and strength in your music then?
How do I balance that in the music?
Yeah, how do you balance it?
Oh, well, I'm just honest. I just say what's on my heart, you know? You know, there's a song on the new record called When My Heart Stops, and it's all about how people are asking me, "Hey, when are you gonna get that real job?" When are you gonna, or when, are you ever gonna stop? Maybe you should take a break, and it's like, I'll stop when my heart stops. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Amazing. Wow, you're
Mhm.
a powerhouse. I love that. That's so inspirational. So when
Thanks.
you go up and you start to play a song, you say, okay, this song, I Wish I Was Water, was I wrote it, blah, blah, blah. And then you go and then you start playing it. You just say, okay, thank you, everyone. And then you just play the next one.
Yeah.
Is that how you do
I
it?
mean, sometimes I do little intros and stuff,
Mm,
but yeah. Yeah.
that's amazing. So I know that you've been described as having a powerful and emotive voice. How do you maintain and develop your vocal abilities?
Ooh. I mean, I also teach voice lessons here and there. Start during the pandemic, I needed a little side hustle, so voice therapy is really important to me for sure. Um, I have a regimen. I warm up. I try to drink a lot of water. I try to get a lot of rest. The way that I sing, it's because I'm singing, I have a lot of big songs. It's easy to get really tired. And the way that I tour, it's easy to get tired. So you just have to really take care of yourself. Self care is really important um, when you're a big singer. So, but yeah, I've always been a big advocate for vocal health, and I've had some vocal health issues in the past, so it's even more, apparent that I make sure that I take care of myself.
Yeah, I had a tenor on the platform at one point, and he said that COVID, he lost his voice for 5 months. He could not
Yeah,
sing a couple of them, and just if you can't sing, it's sort of like, oh, I missed that. But you give yourself some time, and you'll be able to start singing again. But it
yeah.
was kind of sad.
Rest is big. Rest is big.
Yeah. So, Carrie, do you think your music has evolved over the years?
Yeah, I think it always does. Yeah, I definitely think this record is different than the last. Absolutely, it's a little bit more band bandy, a little bit more instrumental. Yeah, there's more love songs, which is weird on this one. But it's definitely morphed. Yeah, it's like as you get older, it's like you experience more, right? So, and you learn. So, yeah, it definitely is different.
Love songs in this. Okay, so what do you think of love songs? You're not the only one I asked. I'm just interested. What do
Yeah,
you think of love songs?
they're hard to write. You know,
Yeah.
you got to be interested because there's so many love songs out there. So they're very hard to write. Absolutely. So you got to find like what something fun, like a little niche. Like I have a song on the new record called Over Coffee, and like I said, that's like when there's a chaos going around in the world and you're sitting at a table with a friend that can kind of take you out of that chaos. So um that's that little stuff, that little nichey stuff on love songs, I think. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is it I love coffee, I love you, or I love doing this? Like, how do people know what that love means? What type of love it is?
Well, I don't think it is. It's just like even if it's a friend or a lover, whatever it is, I think it's just like the feeling of like I love like having a conversation. Well, and that takes me out of uh, the world, the chaotic world. Yeah,
That's true. You need something like that.
yeah.
So, what do you think of cover songs? Like, have you ever kind of played just a cover song, or is it just rather you just play all your own music?
I've done cover gigs. I was in a yacht rock band for a little bit, and then I'll throw in a couple covers and during sets. Yeah, but I mainly like to play my own music.
What if someone holds up their hand and say, "Hey, do you know?" And then what do you say? You say, "No, I don't know that one." You go, "Well,
Yeah, I
well."
just don't play it if I don't know it, or I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I don't know every song in the book for sure.
That's true. Actually, my vocal teacher, she was like the Christina Aguilera of her country. I think she was from Cologne or whatever. And then 20, 30 years later, she moved to Canada. Of course, it was kind of interesting. You see videos of her, and I'm like, you're like the Christina Aguilera of your country, whatever. And she knew 90 songs up by heart, but eventually, sort of like you forget some songs and you can't play them anymore.
Mhm.
You go from 90, she went down, she could only remember 15, which was kind of sad.
Um,
But unless you keep playing them over years, like I bet you anything that Mick Jagger probably can play all his music since he's been playing for 60 some odd years in Rolling
right.
Stones. You
Yeah.
never forget. But it's like you can't say, well, if you haven't ridden a bike in 30 years, you forget to ride one. That's not true.
Right.
For some things, it's sort of like, yeah. So, but Carrie, collaboration seems to be a significant part of your work. How do you choose your collaborators and what do you look for in a creative partnership?
Mm, co-writing is just like, it's almost like blind dating. You meet them, if you get the connection, then you stick with them. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like that. Or if you find a friend that like is a producer and you're like, "Ooh, I like your stuff." You stick with them. Um there's definitely that energy between the two people for sure that you hold on to.
Well, then maybe you should be writing love songs with Chuck Woolery himself.
Yeah, right?
So, Carrie, looking back on your career so far, what are some of the most significant moments or milestones that have shaped you as an artist?
Hmm. Uh I would say probably touring with Delta Ray. The band Delta Ray was really cool. Getting on the train cruise, getting in front of big audiences that really like show me the love, give me the energy. That's always fun. Doing the Kickstarter, being a part of Patreon. Yeah, these are all really big things for me.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Patreon, but before I do, who would be your dream collaborator? Who would you like to write a song?
Probably Sheryl Crow and
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Sheryl Crow for sure. Yeah, number one. Yeah.
that would be interesting. That would like Welling and Crow.
Yep.
That would be awesome. That'd be awesome. Oh, by the way, so what do you think of the whole music industry and AI and everything? What's your thoughts on that?
Ooh, I think it's good for some things, but I don't think that. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't think that a robot is going to be able to take that. To I don't know. Who knows? But I think you're going to know if it's a human or a robot writing a song. I mean, right now I can tell, but the more information it gets, it's going to get better. So it's inevitable. Change is inevitable. So I know that it's just going to happen. But yeah, AI is like producing songs now, which can actually help, can give you inspiration. So I try to stay positive about it. I don't think that it's going to take the songwriters. I don't think it's going to like, kill the songwriting scene, but who knows? I don't know.
Well, you were saying you don't know if it's real, but I was listening to two Amy Winehouse songs that were totally AI generated. It sounded like her, same music, but it wasn't her at all.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some weird stuff that go on right now. So
But I enjoyed that they used AI for, like Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. They created this last Beatles song called Now and Then,
okay.
and they used AI to extract John Lennon's vocals from the piano
Okay.
and George Harrison's and they put it together and they said it was the very last Beatles song, so AI can be used for good.
Yeah, exactly. It can be used for good, but also it could be used for bad as well. But um,
Exactly.
yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. So
Yeah. Well, now, so everyone, Carrie has a Patreon community affectionately known as the Wello family, and she offers fans a unique and intimate way to connect with her and support her music. And by becoming a Patreon, members gain access to a variety of exclusive content experiences. Can you tell us about the membership tiers and benefits about this Patreon?
yeah, so you're basically subscribing to an artist. I don't really do tiers. I do if whoever wants to pay me $5, $10, $20, they kind of sort of get the same thing. I kind of want to leave it up to that, whatever people want to give. Um, so, but you get all the back, like for example, this latest single that's coming out, Storm Chaser, that is a fan pick. So I put up 3 songs and I was like, vote on what you want to be the single. So things like that. I just got my CDs in. They get to see the cover before it comes out. Um,
Oh,
yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. I love Patreon. It really helped me with a lot of things in like just it like through the pandemic. It was a game changer, and it also built the Wellows, which are this awesome community of friends. Actually, now I see the I'll like go hang out with them. So it's been really really cool, and it just continues to grow little by little. And yeah, anybody out there want to subscribe to Carrie Welling, go to patreon.com/Carrie Welling, and you'll see all of it in its glory. It's super fun.
Yeah. You have the Shoutout Club, which is access to all completed songs, incomplete sketch demos, exclusive artwork and photo shoots, monthly Zoom conferences with Carrie. Well, I feel
Yeah.
honored that I actually
Uh-huh.
get this one for free. And social media shoutouts and followbacks. So, what's the Executive Producer Club all about?
You just you get into the liner notes on the record. So that's a big one. So yeah, there are things that if you pay more, you get a better incentive like that. Like I say thank you so much, and you are an executive producer for the album. So you're on the CD and on the vinyl.
I might join you, sign, seal, and deliver. Just actually, yeah, because I want to get a signed physical album mailed.
Well,
I
done and
want you
done
to.
then. You get one right away then.
Yes, that's what I want. So yeah, and I want to ask you, what role does your Patreon community play in your career? Like, does it help you? I know that people pay money, so
Yeah,
that
it
helps.
helps me hugely, and it's all that money goes to my music. So helps me pay for the CDs itself, helps me pay for I don't know, t-shirts that I have to sell, all those expenses that some people don't realize that they're there. So,
Really? Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. Well, Carrie, really appreciate you being on a platform. Thank you so much for sharing your time and insights with us
oh my
today.
gosh, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to it.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure learning more about your musical journey, your inspirations, and the stories behind your songs. Your passion and authenticity truly shine through in everything you do. So, to everyone who's watching this, if you haven't already, make sure to check out Carrie's latest single, "I Wish I Was Water," and please subscribe to her Patreon. There's several versions you can do, including the $10 a month, which I'm going to go. And also everything, including your social media handles, will be linked down below in the show
Woo-hoo.
notes.
Hello.
And follow her on social media to stay updated on her upcoming projects and performances. And we can't wait to see what you create next, Carrie.
Oh, well,
So
I can't wait to create more for all of you to listen to and get inspired by.
yeah, we are so inspired. Okay, everyone, we're going to end this stream. Thanks, Carrie.
Thank you guys.
I've waited on tables for men who change lives, and I know all their names, but they just forget mine. And I sang for them before, and they'll open up their doors. If I'm more like this, like a tailless with a throwback twist, it'd be perfect, but you need a hit, and God, I hated it. And I searched for what they were looking for until I was just looking for myself. So finally, I'm gonna be good to me. Oh God, why is it so hard to just say these words out loud? 'Cause honestly, I just turned 33, and I've loved enough I've looked in the mirror 1,000 times. I've held on to my skin and I dreamed of what it'd be like. And I look for validation, oh, in the darkest of nights. With the wine I get and the lipstick red on my cigarette, and the warmth of a stranger who's got a light. And I know it's because I told myself that I don't deserve a better life. So finally, I'm gonna be good to me. Oh God, why is it so hard to just say these words out loud? 'Cause honestly, I just turned 33, and I've loved enough, lost enough, and I've lifted and I've let myself down. And I'm not who I thought I'd be. Yeah, life's still a mystery, and that's good to me.